Crafting your own upholstery is not as hard as you might think. Now, I've shown you guys the basics on how to thread and run the sewing machine and how to make a stitch. Today in part 3, we'll continue the step-by-step process to get you up on upholstery. Now, most of the time when you sew material together like these two pieces of vinyl, you'll back them with foam for a nice cushy feel. And today, there are two types of foam you need to know about right now: closed cell foam and scrim foam. Now, closed cell foam comes in various thicknesses. It's great for door panels, side panels, package trays, and headliners. Now, you can cut designs into this material, and it's also sandable, so you can bevel the edges for a really clean look. The downside is it will not hold a stitch, so it's no good for today's demonstration, but good to know when planning out your interior. But scrim foam will hold a stitch, and this too comes in different thicknesses. And when using this for automotive seats, I like to use 1/2 inch. Now, this foam will hold a stitch because it has this backing. It gives the stitch something to grab onto, and it won't pull through. Last time I showed you that you could glue these two pieces together, but there's also another way. I'll do what's called a border stitch. I'll lay the two pieces together and run a stitch right along the edge of the vinyl. This locks the two pieces together. Then trim the foam. With two of these done, now we're ready to lay down what's called a plain seam. I'll start by laying the two pieces face to face. Set the needle, make a lock stitch, then run my stitch. And finish up with a lock stitch at the end. And this is a plain seam. It's the most common seam you'll see in automotive seats. It's simple and it's clean. But not only that, it hides the border stitch we made earlier, so you don't have to worry about that being seen. But now we can get a little fancy. We're gonna lay down what's called a top stitch. It'll go right alongside this seam. All we have to do is make sure we keep our seam allowance held flat so the stitch goes through it, and it'll make for a strong stitch. Now line the center of the left foot in the center of the seam. Then make your stitch. This is more for looks than anything. A step further is a French stitch. We want to do the same thing as the top stitch, just on the other side. You'll see this in higher end vehicles. That looks awesome. That's an easy way to make any piece you're working on look very expensive. Next time, we'll take it a little further.